Hey, it's Eric from wanderwitheric.com. Today I'm in Concord, New Hampshire at Old North Cemetery, which is the oldest cemetery in Concord, New Hampshire, and the entire central region of New Hampshire. First commissioned in 1730. Apparently this place is right in the middle of an airplane flight path. We're going to take a look around and see what we can see, check out some of the really old graves. The most notable long-term resident of this cemetery is the 14th President of the United States, Franklin Pierce. I spoke about him a little bit back in the video where I toured the New Hampshire State House, so check that out if you haven't already. It's a cloudy day today, not too warm. Summer's kind of starting to fade away and fall is starting to creep in. And this is my particular favorite time of the year because everything's changing. I'm starting to notice a little bit of color on the tip tops of some of the trees. And we're entering the spooky season leading up to Halloween. And this is my favorite time of the year. In fact, I have a website called Nightmares on Film where I make reviews of horror movies. I'll link it in the description if you're interested. Since it's that kind of day, and since we're getting into that season, I thought I should come somewhere just a little bit creepy. I mentioned back in my Steepest Street in Concord Part 3 video, or maybe it was Part 2, anyhow I'll link it above, that this cemetery is someplace that we should visit again in the future. And here we are, so we're going to explore it. If you like what you see in today's video, please click the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell so you get all my notifications when I post a new video. Leave a comment with your thoughts about today's video. Share it with anybody you think might enjoy it. All your support really helps the channel to keep growing. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's wander. We'll enter the cemetery from the east entrance on North State Street. Old North Cemetery was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2008. Thomas Stickney, interred here, fought with John Stark at the Battle of Bennington during the Revolutionary War. See my visit to the battle sites linked above. I might have expected to see a bunch of coffins in a cemetery. Some of these headstones have tiny footstones behind them. These are intended to symbolize the deceased lying in a bed complete with head and foot where they can awaken into the hereafter. Veterans of every major American war from the Revolution to the Second World War lie here, as do many other notable figures of Concord history. Notable residents of the cemetery, in addition to President Franklin Pierce, are two governors of the state of New Hampshire, David Morrill, no, not the guy who wrote the first Rambo book, and Matthew Harvey. So if you're ever in an old cemetery like this and you want to try and locate the really old graves, what you want to look for is this kind of stone. So dark in color. A lot of times you're going to see elaborate carvings up on the top here, and they'll have interesting language used down here. There will often be interesting statements, some colorful language of different kinds. They got more personality than the newer graves do. A lot of them are dark in color like this. They're narrow this way. They're kind of thin. If you're ever in a really old cemetery, look for that kind of stone, and that's where you're going to find the really old ones. This one is from 1784. Despite being in business since the 1730s, this cemetery is still accepting new burials. Out of respect for family members who may still be living, I won't show any of the more recent graves. Living to adulthood was an accomplishment in previous centuries. Unfortunately, the years haven't been too kind to some of the markers. Here we have a stone that's from probably the mid-1800s. Unfortunately, this type of stone was popular at that time, whatever this stone is made out of, but as you can see, they don't last the test of time all that well. And a lot of these stones from this period, the writing's really faded out because of that. It's unfortunate. There's a hidden grave in this cemetery. Do you want to see it? It's over here. Members of the Quaker religion are buried here. They believed that gravestones were an affront to God. That's why this area has none. I guess this means we're on the right track. This fenced-off area, known as the Minnow Enclosure, was added to the cemetery in 1860. Lewis Downing is interred here. He's the creator of the famous Concord coach, one of the most popular types of stagecoach used in the colonization of the American West in the 19th century. Franklin Pierce was President of the United States from 1853 to 57. He's not usually considered to be a great president. His policies defending slavery against abolition in part precipitated the Civil War. But karma caught up with him. His 3 children all died in their youth, and he outlived his wife before drinking himself to death. Here it is, the resting place of the 14th United States President, Franklin Pierce. It's not every day you can visit the resting place of a United States President. Pretty cool. People who live in this town their whole lives probably drive right by this place on the busy road right over there several times a week and never even knew that this was here. Right here in little old unassuming Concord, New Hampshire is the resting place of a United States President. Well, that about does it for today's adventure. I hope you enjoyed wandering with Eric today around the grounds of Old North Cemetery here in Concord, New Hampshire. If you're ever in the area, it's worth a visit to stop by and see the resting place of a United States President. I hope you'll come and wander with me again soon. In the meantime, I hope you remember to keep exploring.